What's up, guys? It's time for another channel review, and today I'm going to be talking about Punk Rock MBA with Finn McKenty. I like this channel a lot. There's a wide variety of heavy music that he talks about, and uh, you know, uh, he talks about. And I think what I like most about the channel is that he has an eclectic taste, but it's all centered back into that kind of punk feeling. The thing I dislike about it the most, there are a few things that I dislike about this channel, but we'll get more into that. The thing I dislike about it the most is it's called Punk Rock MBA, but he doesn't talk about a lot of straight up punk guys all that much. And granted, that genre of music has been covered to death. You can find videos on pretty much any punk band that you want to listen to, but you know, the name of the channel is Punk Rock MBA, so I would like to hear more about circle jerks and, dead Kennedys and just not so much about. I mean, I like the other stuff he talks about. Like, I like hardcore and I like death metal and I love death metal, but I don't know. I think if you're gonna name your channel Punk Rock MBA, you ought to be able to at least talk about punk rock. Uh, Another thing I dislike about the channel is Finn has a bad habit of completely ignoring bands that he politically disagrees with or that are too misogynist. Uh, I kind of can understand not talking about a band like Screwdriver or even maybe Marduk, like Nazi bands. I can kind of understand not, you know, not giving them free advertising. Um, but you know, Nazis have never left. They never went away because we ignore them. And I think that by just not talking about them and completely ignoring that they have a presence in hard music only allows them to continue to have that presence. And the thing about it is bands like Screwdriver and Marduk, racist, misogynist bands, they tend to be kind of shitty. They tend to not really be the most skilled musicians or lyricists of the genre that they play. So I think if you're gonna talk about them, it's not gonna like they're not gonna get a whole lot of new fans because usually they suck. I mean, I do like certain bands. I like Anal Cunt, which is they do songs like Hitler was actually a pretty nice guy, but all of their songs that are I mean every song is pretty much meant to be offensive. It's a joke, you know what I mean? It's obviously a joke. Like no one seriously sits down and makes a song about their drummer being gay. Tim is Gay is probably one of Anal Cunt's most popular songs. And like no one thinks that Seth was being serious when he wrote Tim is Gay. But I mean, I guess if you are like so I guess if you disagree with, make shaming people about their sexuality, I can understand why you wouldn't want to talk about anal cunt. I just think that you're not really doing anyone any favors. You're not helping gay people. You're not helping women. You're not helping blacks. You're not helping Jews. You're not helping oppressed minorities by ignoring their oppressors. You're actually doing their oppressors a solid. Like, if you really want to help oppressed, marginalized minorities, the best thing you can do is to draw attention to their oppressors and criticize the oppressors. So, if you, I would be all for, I mean, I would like punk rock NBA way more if when he was talking about Oi, if he brought up Screwdriver and, talked about how They were somewhat influential in the scene, but they died off because racism is stupid. And pretty much most people understand that. Most people understand that racism is stupid. And you're not going you might, make two people fans of Screwdriver that weren't already fans of Screwdriver, but I doubt it. You know what I'm saying? If the that sound and that band doesn't hold up to the test of time because they suck. They they were not good. And to bring them up and explain how they might have been influential on certain other bands or whatever, and to talk about how their message was bogus and stupid, it doesn't really, it's not like you are giving them props. You know what I'm saying? You're just calling out the stupidity. And I think that's probably even more than Finn not talking about like straight up punk rock. That bothers me more because I think that he's not doing anyone any favors by not talking about these bands. He's he's basically picking the coward's way out, and I think he just doesn't want to be demonetized, and I understand that. I mean, I'm not really motivated by monetization. I've already like clicked the button that says do not monetize my videos. I don't want to be monetized. I don't want a lot of subscribers because a lot of the things that I do talk about in here are controversial, and I think, I mean, I know for a fact you could go through my videos and take something out of context and make me look like I'm some kind of racist shithead, and I'm not. So even though I like anal cunt, uh, I'm not racist and I'm not homophobic, and I love everyone. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people are that way who are accused of being bigots. And it's weird because it's like if you don't love someone the way that the mainstream narrative says that you should love someone, then you're automatically considered a bigot. And that's not just, it's just not true. You can love someone. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do to someone is tell them that they're fucking up and that they are ruining their lives or potentially putting their souls at risk. Sometimes that's the most loving thing that you can do for someone because I'm an example of this. You know, the last time I was in the psych ward, there was a very nice nurse there who was trying to talk to me about God and family and getting out of my addiction and just changing my life. And I wasn't very receptive to her at the time, but looking back on what she was telling me, you know, she very well could have been the person that made me the person that I am today. A lot of the things that she was saying are the things that I believe with my whole heart now, you know. And sometimes it just takes getting out of a situation um, to see where you were wrong, and a lot of times your perspectives can completely realign to something that you may have had to stand for. Um, so yeah, but back to Finn McKinney and punk rock MBA. I mean, the guy has a very wide and eclectic taste in hard music, and I appreciate that. I don't like all the stuff that he talks about. He and I kind of have opposite taste. Like he's really into like hardcore punk and like pop punk, and he likes slam a lot. I love slam. I'm not a big pop punk guy. About the deepest I get into pop punk is like when I listen to Blink 182 on the radio or something. Like it's not really a genre that I seek out, but I have appreciation for the style of music, for the genre. I don't hate it. um, as for hardcore, there are a lot of really influential hardcore bands that made, death metal and deathcore and slam and what heavy music is today, what it is today. There are a lot of hardcore influences on extreme metal, but the most popular bands of hardcore punk, like I'm not hardcore punk has like several definitions. It has several uh, eras that people assign the title hardcore punk to. And it started kind of in like the late 80s with like Black Flag, and I guess you would consider Circle Jerks to be kind of hardcore. But it went on to be something a little bit more like death metal or deathcore, I would say. It, Job for a Cowboy and Norma Jean and all these bands that are they don't sound like punk at all are considered hardcore punk. And I don't know why I'm expanding so much on that, other than I've just never understood why they assigned the title punk to these bands. Because it's not punk, it's really not punk. It's more metal to me. Like, Job for a Cowboy is more metal to me. They're extremely talented. Well, I mean, their newer albums are like straight up tech death metal. And but their first album that they are most popular for and that they are most recognized for was hardcore punk, if you want to call it that. Um, but yeah, Finn talks about death metal slam. His probably my favorite video that he made is the one he did about I think it's called "What Happened to Slam," and it's a good video because it does really kind of explain how slam kind of is dying off. I don't want to say it's dead quite yet, but it is definitely dying off, and everything is becoming a bit more death metal-y. And he did another video called "Why Death Metal" or "Whatever Happened to Death Metal." And I kind of disagree with the premise of that video because death metal is probably bigger than it's ever been. Uh, it's been going strong since the 90s, and death metal is huge right now. If you like metal music, there's a good chance that you are a death metal fan. And another thing I disliked, and this kind of goes back to like him not talking about misogynist bands and stuff like that, is he said that there was an entire subgenre of black metal for Nazis. And he said that, but didn't really expand on that thought at all. And I looked into it a little bit because I was interested in this. Um, it makes sense, obviously. I mean, with Norway being one of the big areas where black metal took off and has the biggest scene, in Norway, there are a ton of nationalists there. Even bands like even some of the most popular black metal bands, like what's the fucking name of that band? I mean, Varg Vikernes is obviously a nationalist. He's kind of I don't know if you would call Varg Vikernes a white supremacist, but he's racist. And what is the name of that band? The band that did that huge Waken uh, festival with Mayhem and God, what is the name of that band? They have that song. It's like the drummer of the band is named Frost. I can't think of the name of the band to save my life right now, but the drummer of the band is named Frost, and he's in a lot of other bands too. But they're a nationalist band. A lot of their songs are about reserving Norway's resources for when Norway needs them, and you know it makes sense to me that someone would make the stretch that there was a Nazi subgenre of black metal, but I can't find any evidence to support that. Marduk did an album about with like World War II aesthetics, and some of the lyrics were about World War II, and the aesthetics of the album were kind of like in that style. But you know, it just they're not Nazis; they're nationalists. Um, but that doesn't mean that they want to, kill Jews and homosexuals, and they're just not. That's not how they are. They are Satanists. So, I mean, they're like do as thou wilt type of people. They're like libertarian nationalists. And I think it's just really sad that people are. I said I wouldn't talk about politics ticks in this channel anymore, but I think it's sad when people jump to conclusions about someone just because of a title they've assigned to themselves. I won't call myself a nationalist, but a lot of my ideas align with nationalist ideas. I just think that to assign a title to yourself that oftentimes is um, trumped up to be, about hating people and a bigoted title is just not a smart move. People should stay away from that. I would say stay away from calling yourself a Republican or a Democrat or anything because you're just subscribing to a bunch of people who don't care about you and just want your name as another notch on their belts, basically. Uh, I've probably talked a little bit too much about like why I think Finn McKenty is like an SJW cuck, but I don't want it to seem like that's what I'm trying to get out of this video because I really do enjoy his channel, even when he talks about stuff that I have really no interests in. He's so knowledgeable about it and passionate about it that I take interest in what he's talking about. Yeah, so, he could talk about some like emo pop punk band that I would never choose to listen to, but I'll listen to something about their story or about the band, just because I like Finn McKenzie. I like him. I like to listen to what he says, even though I disagree with some of the methods that he uses. I think he seems like a nice guy. I would totally hang out with him. You know what I'm saying? I just think I would like to talk to him because I think that he is taking a coward's route by completely avoiding the topic of hateful bands. You know what I'm saying? It's a coward's route because no one is going to hear that there's a KKK punk rock band and like be seriously excited about going and listening to that. And I think also if that's why he isn't talking about these bands, if he's not talking about them because he doesn't want to lead racists in their direction, a have more faith in your in your audience, man, and b, I just think you're wrong. I don't think that people are going to like those bands because they suck. Like I can listen to Anal Cunt because I appreciate that kind of raw grindcore kind of fuck it sound. But as for the lyrics, you can't understand what the fuck he's saying. Seth Putnam sounds like a fucking wood chipper. You know what I mean? You're not gonna understand what they're saying. But, you can read the song titles. All their song titles are fucked up. Um, I don't know. I'm not trying to defend Anal Cunt. I mean, Seth Putnam is dead, and they're just kind of a funny band to listen to. Say atrocious, controversial shit that no one else will say. But if you've watched any of my other videos, you probably caught on to the fact that I like those type of people. But anyway, I love you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sure it was kind of incoherent in certain parts, but if you like my videos, you're probably used to that. Love you guys. Peace.